the treasure, she's new, she's beautiful. Like, that's like that meme of like the guy looking over his shoulder at the, like, well, I don't know, the treasure's pretty nice.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And Sam, we got a review coming your way. 5 stars coming from Sarah Webb, who writes, great listen. I have so enjoyed this podcast and listening to all the different viewpoints from guests and from Sam and Brian. I've been able to pick up some great tips and tricks, as well as just relive the magic until we're able to get on our next cruise. This has been my happy place, just getting to go and stick my head in the Disney clouds. These guys are so easy to listen to and very well spoken. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you, Sarah, for that lovely review. I know we tell people all the time, these reviews are what keep us going. It's not that sweet, sweet MailChimp money, if anyone gets that joke. But thank you for the review, Sarah. And as a reminder, the easiest way to support the show is head over to Apple Podcasts, hit those 5 stars. If you leave us a written review, we will read it on the air at the top of one of our main episodes each week. But just hit those 5 stars. It really helps us out a lot.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah.
And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and like all the episodes that you watch on YouTube as well, because that also helps with whatever these algorithms are doing. So,
for our computer overlords, we welcome their oversight and involvement in our day-to-day living. Yes.
And to Sarah's point, we have some great guests today. So today is no exception. We are going to relive their 7-night cruise on the beautiful and wonderful Disney Treasure. We're so happy to welcome back to the show from their very own podcast, Adventures and Mousecapades, Nathan and Alicea. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you
so much.
Hello.
Yeah, it's so good to have you guys back. We're just chit-chatting, of course, before we started recording because we live in the same area. We're talking about, spring break plans and all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about a cruise you guys took in February of this year over the President's Day week. But before we dive into talking about that cruise, listen. You guys have a podcast. You cover all things Disney. You like to cover, different experiences across the Disney landscape. But why don't you tell our audience about your cruising credentials and kind of your general Disney background?
Cruising credentials. Well, this was my 18th Disney
Here
cruise.
we go again.
Yeah, that's right.
Alicia's plus
Nathan's
2 on me.
16th. Yep. We started cruising in 2009, I think was the first one on the Magic, and we're instantly hooked and have done a variety since then. And I think for Disney, I'd gone to the parks maybe once when I was little, and we really just started our journey in 2009 with our land and sea cruise and parks tour.
Yep, our daughter was 4.5 at the time, and that was kind of the perfect entree into that whole world of Disney. I did... I remember Disney Channel on the, cable when that first was a thing. I think our local Disney or our local cable system would carry the Disney Channel, but wouldn't carry MTV because it was too controversial back in the time when MTV actually played music.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, hi, I'm old.
You're contemporaries with us, Nathan.
Yeah, exactly. And we never really had a ton of a travel budget in my family. And so it was usually family visits to, Cape Cod or wherever just to see family. And so my first actual visit to Disney was Disney World with Magic Music Days back in 92, I think it was. And I was instantly hooked. I mean, I knew the movies already, but there was something about coming around the flag circle in the parade. We came out and from behind the firehouse, came around the circle, and then I'm playing in the marching band and the drum line, and then you hit Main Street and the castle's right there in front of you, and like I was instantly Disney hooked, and it was great. It was unfortunate it took another many years to get back, but we jumped in. Like Alicea was saying, we had our next week-long Eastern Caribbean cruise on, I think it was the Wonder or the Magic. I forget which one was doing the weeks, but we did the land and sea package. we were on the first night, and by the next morning, we were at the booking desk and had a cruise booked. It was instant.
That was so similar to us. We were mid cruise, at least. I don't know if it was night 2, but mid cruise on our first 7-night Eastern Caribbean on the Fantasy. We were booking our next 7-night Eastern Caribbean on the Fantasy.
Yep.
So yeah,
we knew we had found something special. Yep,
exactly. That cruise bug just gets you. Well, let's dive into talking about your cruise on the Treasure. Let's start with why you chose this particular sailing, this particular itinerary. Was it just we need to get on the Treasure and this is the week that works, or was there some other calculus going on?
It was pretty much that.
Nailed it.
We wanted to get on the Treasure. Yeah, we wanted to get on the Treasure, and we were going around school schedule for Sterling for our son, and that was midwinter break, President's Day week, and we had the week off, and it fit perfectly in the schedule, the Saturday to Saturday cruise.
Yeah,
we
and
wanted to do the maiden, but we just
Oh.
couldn't swing that.
Yeah. Remind us how old Sterling is, and then did your daughter come with you? I know she's in college.
Mm-hmm. Sterling is 13, and our daughter did not come with us because she did not have the time off. So no cruise for her.
No, but we did cruise with our best friends. So there's 2 other couples, adults, no kids with either of those folks. So we had a big group that we were, fairly large group that we were cruising along with. And Sterling always goes and finds new friends at the kids clubs and stuff like that. So we had Sterling with us, but it was very much kind of an adults focused cruise. We kind of got our own thing to do. So it was pretty great.
Yeah, that we have found just in the last few cruises, that's what happens with us, with Nathan, like now our Nathan, obviously, not you, Nathan. But yeah, now that he's 11 and he goes to Edge and he really likes that, experience and loves the independence, that we end up being able to, we have a lot more freedom of what we want to do. Not that we don't want to spend time as a family, but we can do some adult things or hang out in some adult areas that we maybe didn't used to be able to spend as much time in. We might have been able to go, one night to one of the bars on board. And now it's like, if we want to sit in one of the bars on board after dinner, we can do that pretty much every night because Nathan's running from dinner to Edge. Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah, he's coming in after we've gone to bed because he's like,
True.
Midnight. Hope you had a good time, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're in bed watching, Zootopia, and he's coming back to the room. Yeah.
We had to have a conversation on this trip. The first night he came back, we were already, I think, asleep, and he'd let the door slam and then slam the door for the bathroom. And I didn't say anything at the time, but I woke up in the next morning. I'm like, I'm glad you had a lot of fun. However, when you come in, don't wake us up.
Yeah, don't slam the door. Come in
Don't
quietly.
slam the door.
Yeah, love that. All right, well let's dive into talking about the pre-boarding stuff, pre-booking, right? Like booking, were there things that you wanted to book ahead of time? And if so, what were they? And were you able to? I mean, you're obviously you have platinum Castaway status, so you're not the first group of, the first group is concierge, but you're not the first group of Castaway Club status. That's Pearl, but you're the second group. So that's pretty, I would say generally pretty good booking status, except for like a cabana, right? That's pretty much, we know for cabanas, they're not even available to Pearl like anymore. That now it's really just concierge, and unless you're just randomly lucky and get on the app when somebody happens to drop one. So yeah, tell us what you were looking or trying to book and whether that was successful.
Yeah, definitely. So we had tied all of our reservations together with our friends. I think everybody's platinum at this point, though, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So we wanted to get...
That makes it way easier, by the way.
Yes, it really does.
Then everyone can be trying to book things at the same time. And you can book things together. It's such a pain if you're different Castaway Club status than your friends in a different room, because then you can't book at the same time.
Although they are East Coast.
Right. And we're West Coast, so we can be at 9:00. And we actually took all of that. Like, what are the things you guys want to do? And so, like, we booked like an enchanté dinner for our good friends, Bill and Rachel. And like, we got the Palo reservations for all of us and stuff like that. I think the only ones we had trouble with, honestly, were some of the tastings. Like, those went really fast. And I agree. Like, it's usually when you're platinum, you can kind of get everything except for these really busy holiday weeks. Like, the ship gets really slammed with some, we'll call them more senior level cruisers, and not necessarily in age, but just in experience. And it was slim pickings on some of those experiences.
We wanted to do chocolate and liquor. That is one of our favorite tastings. And we were able to get chocolate and liquor for 4 people, not 6 people. So we did that. I also was able to get Prima Notte, which we have never done before. And we were very excited to try this on this cruise. We heard from listening to you two about this, and we're like, okay, we got to try it. So we booked that. We also booked Apollo brunch and Apollo dinner. And I don't think we did any other tastings. It was just the chocolate and liquor.
Yeah. What was your strategy for what night or nights to book dinners, adult dinners, whether that's enchanté or Palo?
Mm-hmm. Pirate night.
Yeah.
That is our strategy. We are not huge fans of the pirate menu. So that was what we tried to do for Palo dinner. Our friends that wanted enchanté, they had a specific night I think they wanted. I don't know what their reasoning was. They just wanted a specific night. Oh, it was Coco. They wanted to make sure that it wasn't on Coco night, I believe.
Okay. Yes. So did you request then a specific dining rotation in order to make that happen?
No, we were ready to switch dining or request a switch. We do late dining, so it's kind of the world's your oyster in terms of, I mean, they're not guaranteed, but you're more apt to get a change if you need. And our 3-restaurant hit was Worlds of Marvel. So we'll just say lots of skippable opportunities for dinner, and not to feel bad about that.
That's funny. Yeah, I think it's, people ask us all the time, like we tend to choose adult dining on Pirate Night. I know others have, maybe a different strategy because they really enjoy Pirate Night. And if you have a longer adult dinner, you may actually miss the deck party and the fireworks. It just kind of depends on what time. If you schedule, a later dinner at Enchanté or even at Palo, you might actually miss this deck party and the fireworks. So if you're going to do it on Pirate Night, either just know that or book it a little on the earlier side, right? So it's just strategizing, I think, that people should think about ahead of time. And then the other issue is if we end up wanting to do 2 adult dinners, right, and do maybe one at Enchanté and one at Palo, or Remy and Palo if we're on Dream or Fantasy, then we're having to miss a rotational dining night. So we might request a specific dining rotation so that we can ensure or try to ensure that we don't miss a particular dinner show or menu that we want to hit. So that just a tip for those listening, you can do these things and you can request, I think, Nathan, your point is really well taken. On board, you can request a switch if you realize when, that something you had booked conflicts with a dinner, a rotational dining experience you don't want to miss. But that's easier to do if you're in late dining, which tends to be not as heavily subscribed as early dining. Early dining is much harder to make any changes, or to either to change to early dining or to switch within early dining. So let's jump into talking about, obviously you guys are in the Seattle area, so you're flying all the way to MCO to fly. This is out of Port Canaveral. The Treasure is only sailing out of Port Canaveral, so we know you're not going to Port Everglades. When did you guys get down to the Orlando area, and where did you all stay?
We flew in the day before on Valentine's Day, and we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge at Kidani Village. Was it Jumbo House?
I think we were at Jumbo House.
We were at Jumbo House, the main one.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. And what was the transportation plan to get down to the port?
We took Disney cruise transportation.
Yeah, it's just super convenient. And there were a lot of other people at Animal Kingdom Lodge that were doing the same thing. They actually had 2 buses worth of folks from that location for us. So, and we were on the first bus. We checked in with them about 9:00 in the morning. I think we were on the bus by 9:30. We got to the port, maybe about 10:40 or so, breezed right through security and all the rest of the check-in. We got, the random assigned boarding group. We were number 4, and we were literally like on the ship before noon. So it was really smooth sailing.
That's
pun
awesome.
intended.
Yeah. But that's awesome. Like, we keep hearing really great things about people's recent experiences with Disney transportation, either from the airport at the MCO Hyatt or from a Disney resort on property. So I will tell people, just a reminder out there, like, make sure whatever transportation you booked is the right one, because there are, like I said, there's 3 different options out there. A specific Disney resort hotel is one option. The airport is another option. And then the airport Hyatt is a third option. It's not the same transportation as booking just the regular airport. So make sure to book the correct one. All right. Well, you guys have, as you mentioned, smooth sailing. Check-in process goes super fast. You're on board before noon. What's your embarkation day lunch tradition?
We like a sit-down lunch. Yeah. I know you can go up to like Cabanas or Marceline Market, but we like to go to one of the rotational dining places for lunch. So we weren't sure where it was. It was the Coco restaurant. And before we did that, we looked around the ship a little bit first.
Yeah. That first impression of the treasure is stunning. It's really, really good. And we were, I think, the second people waiting. Like, I think we were in the lobby for a few minutes and then went over towards Skipper Society, and we wanted to just peek in Haunted Mansion, and they opened the doors at noon, and we had like a 2-minute wait and got to peek in really when nobody was there. So that was pretty awesome. And then we spent just a couple minutes there and then went up and found Coco. And yeah, that was really impressive. I was the beef empanadas and everything else was great. A welcome addition to the food offerings on the ship for sure.
Yeah, we love that too. We love that sit down lunch, whether it's in Coco on the Treasure or in one of the, in Tiana's on the Wonder. It's just like a really nice relaxing way. Of course, it's slower. It takes more time. And so if you're somebody who wants to go around and explore a lot that first day, then yeah, it's going to eat into that time. But I think it's a really relaxing way and much less crazy than a Cabanas or Marceline Market experience. Yeah. Well, this was Eastern Caribbean, am I correct? Or was this Western? Eastern. Okay. Awesome. Of course, the best itinerary. Let's talk about the ports first. And then because the treasure, she's the star, the ship is the star. So let's talk a little bit about ports and what you did in each port, and then we'll jump back on board, pun intended, to the ship as well. So you would have gone to Tortola and St. Thomas and, of course, Castaway Cay. Am I right in the order?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's start. I never remember if it's Tortola first or St. Thomas first. That's the one thing I sometimes get wrong. So let's Tortola. Did you book a Disney excursion? Did you venture out on your own? What did you guys get up to?
We did not book a Disney excursion. We actually found a charter group. Oh, I don't know. It was years and years and years ago, just from looking on forums and such. And we booked a private charter with Aristocat Charters. And I think this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time that we've gone with them. We just love them so much. We booked the entire boat, and there was just seven of us, I think, on there.
Yeah, I think it was going to be 10. We also had some friends locally who were on the cruise with us. They were going to come with, and then they forgot that they were going to do that. And so they had booked like zip lining or something like that. And so their family split up, and we had one extra person with us. So no, there was 8. Don't forget Sterling.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we have this. We have a son. But it was fantastic. we get to just go out, sail around. It was beautiful weather, great breeze, gawk at some of the other mega yachts that are around, go do some epic snorkeling. We swam ashore and had lunch at this resort right on the beach. And yeah, it was a gorgeous day. It was so fun. Yeah.
Was this mostly spent at like the Jost Van Dyke then? Because obviously that's right off of Tortola. Or were you mostly at the island of Tortola?
No, it's I cannot remember the name of the little island. It's the other direction from it's east of Road Town where the ship docks. Yep. It's just blown right out of my brain.
That's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. But one of these other small islands just off of Tortola. That's one of the nice things about these private charters. We did one with chill out charters.
Not Jost Van Dyke.
No, that's what he's saying. It wasn't Jost Van Dyke. It was one of the other islands that's right there. Was it Norman Island?
Yes.
No. Oh, is it Norman Island? Yeah, that's where we swam with the sea turtles. Yeah.
Yes.
That's one of the it's not great for snorkeling for other fish, the part where we were, but it was great for snorkeling with sea turtles specifically. And then I know there are other spots that are great for snorkeling with fish.
There's some caves that we got to snorkel around in. There was some a rock formation kind of out in the middle of the channel that we stopped off in. Snorkeling we're going to use with a very kind of loose air quotes around. I would say it was a lot of floating around, just enjoying the company of all of our friends and having the captain and mate on the sailboat toss us beers. And it was great.
Yeah, pretty nice. Yeah. Well, and typically, a lot of these charters, you have to look at what they include and what they don't include, but most of them include drinks for the day, right? Yep. Like not necessarily every kind of drink you can imagine, but a selection of beer and wine, or maybe some hard ciders, some soft drinks, and they might even include like a rum punch. That's pretty common, obviously, in the Caribbean. And then there are some that include lunch. Ours didn't, and I know yours didn't include lunch, right? You got off to go have lunch someplace, but you're obviously...
Well, that was our choice. They actually would provide lunch. And there's two other locations. There's, Alicia, remind me the name of that ship. That's the restaurant.
I don't know. There's a like a pirate ship where you can dock and get lunch
and have lunch on the ship. That's fun.
Yeah. And then we decided to swim into like this little private resort that is in this bay over by Norman Island and have kind of a nice fancier lunch there.
Yeah. Last time we did this charter, I just remembered the name. We did stop at Willie T's, which was the lunch place. Yeah. But this time we went on shore.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, how long was this charter actually?
It was probably 6-7 hours, something like that.
So pretty much the whole day that you're in Tortola. All right. Well, let's talk about St. Thomas. What was the plan and what'd you guys do for St. Thomas?
Let's see. The only excursion we had planned was for Tortola. We didn't have anything else planned for St. Thomas or for Castaway. St. Thomas we'd been to before, and we had done, it was like a tour of the city and then a pirate museum tour. And we were not impressed with that tour last time we did it. So we're like, we just won't do anything this time. We'll walk around if we want to. I don't know what it is about that island, but it is ridiculously hot on that island. I don't know why it's different from the other ones, but I just like melt when I go outside there.
Yeah. There are, I think the pro tip, we just had somebody ask us about like what to do on St. Thomas just the other day. And I was refreshing and looking at all the Disney options. I will say the ones that include like, hey, you could go see Blackbeard's Castle. It's not as cool as you think it is or what they want you to think it is. It's literally, hey, you're driving by this place. It's behind a gate with a long driveway. It's private. You can't go in, but you drive by on the road. Hey, look at that house. So just temper your expectations. There is a fantastic restaurant, though, kind of at the end of that shopping district, like right at the port that we like going and hanging out in. And so we did get off the ship and have lunch. We also needed to get a ring resized. This is part of our 25th anniversary kind of celebration. And so we got a new ring for Alicea and had to get that resized there on shore. So we had a couple things to do, but it was really, Tortola, whenever we're there, we're sailing with Aristocat. The rest of this trip, we wanted to enjoy the treasure.
Yeah. Well, and tell us what's the restaurant you go to? What's the pro tip for the restaurant?
I knew you were going to ask this. It is.
Find it in our it's it's all the way at the end.
I mean, I know there's a Chinese restaurant. I've heard good things about that.
No,
one,
this is
I'm guessing it's not that one.
No, this is like a burger joint and bar.
That's all right. Maybe it'll pop into your head as we're talking.
We'll find it.
Yeah, it's probably near the Chinese place though, because the Chinese place is towards the end of that shopping district. Like if you had to walk from where like the parking lot is, which is where like the buses might drop you off usually after an excursion, like a Disney excursion. If you're going to Megan's Bay Beach is the one that we tend to do, and so you pass by like all they drop you off there because they're forced to make you walk past all of the stores basically.
Yes, exactly.
So
their strategy.
And so like I know that I noticed the last time because our friend Alan had told us about the Chinese place because we were there on Christmas Day last time, and as or was it Christmas Eve? I can't remember. It was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. And I'm Jewish, and of course, there's a tradition of Jews eating Chinese food on Christmas. And so he was giving me the tip, like, "Hey, if you want to go get your Chinese fix," we didn't go, but because we were busy doing other stuff.
Is it possibly called the Tap and Still?
It is.
It is.
I just pulled it up. It's the Tap and Still. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Chat GPT.
Yeah. Well, if we have enough time, maybe we'll have to check it out for a burger or beer.
I can't eat that much on a cruise.
I know. This is the problem.
Let's just add in more meals.
I know. There's so much good
burgers
food.
Are great, though.
Yeah, but there's so much good food on the ship. It's like
there is.
But we always end up eating, if we go to Megan's Bay Beach, we always end up eating lunch there at least because you're there in the middle of the day and you're going to get hungry and whatnot. But, all right, well, let's talk about Castaway. Castaway is always a great time. I know you guys have been there a ton of times. In fact, we were talking about how you're itching to get to Lookout Cay because you haven't been there yet. But yeah, what did you guys plan for Castaway?
So I was going to do morning yoga with my two friends, and unfortunately, I wasn't feeling super great that morning. So I bowed out of Castaway, and Sterling and I spent the day on the ship. But Nathan went to Castaway.
I did. I went off with our other two couple friends. We really just kind of parked ourselves over at the Castaway bar, the Castaway Air bar, I think it is, out at Serenity Bay there on the deck. It was a pretty breezy day, but it was just gorgeous, and we really just relaxed. All of the kind of shore excursions were largely canceled because it was just really windy and choppy. I was actually wondering if we were going to make it in, but we are, knock on wood, so far like 100% on our Castaway actual being able to dock every time we've gone. So I think that's kind of a miracle listening to everybody else who's been on your podcast, but we have good luck. But yeah, it was just an incredibly relaxing day, not having a ton to do. Had lunch out there. It was just a very, very chill day.
The captain did give a warning, I guess you would call it, the night before, like, we're going to try our best, but it might not happen.
I feel like they should just put an asterisk on Castaway Cay sailings that just say we will try our best and we can't make guarantees because, like, the number of times they can't dock. I mean, it's not infrequent that they can't dock there, if that makes sense. And it just is what it is. They can't control the weather, and you get all these people upset about it. And it's like, it happens. The stuff happens. So,
do they have better luck at Lookout from what you've heard?
I thought that they would, but they've had to miss docking at Lookout. I mean, the way they set up the pier, I thought the wind was kind of blowing the ship into the pier. It's also not like it's not like as narrow a channel. It doesn't look like, and they have the option to like dock like on either side. And so, but they have missed a few. But it's not like, the other complaint about Lookout is, the pier, but like without the pier, they'd probably have less success because you'd be tendering and the tender boats would just be, they wouldn't be able to support.
Oh, yeah.
So,
people would be throwing up on the tender boats. That's really
if it gets to that point, they usually just don't tender.
Well, that's true. Because you have
everywhere.
Because everybody transferring from the ship to the tender, that's where there's always a danger with people transferring from one boat to the other in heavy wake.
Yep.
So all right,
I do want to mention that about Castaway, just to add on, we did take a look at, since we were over at Serenity, all of the new cabanas that are being built, and they're making some really good progress. So this was mid-February. I would imagine, there's not a lot to those cabanas. So I would imagine they'll be online sometime later this year. There's also a huge kind of a more cinder block building. I'm guessing it's going to be either a food venue or some merch or something like that. Yeah. Well, no, it's bigger than just some restrooms, but I mean, I'm sure there will be restrooms there, but there's a lot going on there in Serenity and or on Castaway. I'm interested, I know Disney hasn't said anything officially, but I did some counting out of our pictures, and there's 23 or so different cabanas that are there. Do you think that it's going to be another family accessible area for cabanas? Because that's a lot for just adults only.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think there's going to be a split, right? I think they're probably going to be half of them. The first half, that's the ones that, so let's say if there's 20, right? Then the 10 that are closer to the, or closest to the family beach cabanas that are there, those will be the family ones. And then the other ones, so it'll be once you hit number whatever, you'll be at the Serenity Bay. So I do think there'll be a dividing, and it might seem surprising to some because at Castaway, the cabanas are right now very separate, meaning the Serenity from the family beach, but that's not how they are at Lookout. They're separate, the cabanas are, but the beaches are not separate, right? Serenity Bay Beach is right next to the family beach at Lookout Cay. And so, they have a dividing line, and maybe they'll put a rope or something to delineate that separation. But to me, I feel like they might end up being relatively close, and they might have bathrooms or something in between, right? There may be some structure or lifeguard stand, whatever, something in between. But I don't think, I think they'll be a lot closer than they have been in the past. That would be my guess. Because I can't imagine that they would all be Serenity or all be family. That just doesn't make any sense, right? Just logistically, because there's demand in both places. And I would say in general, the higher demand is for the family beach.
Agreed. What was in the back of my head was just taking that whole thing and using the bar there at Serenity Bay as that break. And then that whole new section would just be another family cabanas section. And then, there's room for them to put more Serenity Bay cabanas going the other direction.
True. True. Although they did move the crew beach in that direction. So they definitely have room for some more cabanas at the end of Serenity currently. But at some point they will get to that crew beach area. And so they don't have unlimited room over there. And I just don't know how much restriction there is as to how much they can develop, right? Because we know there are some restrictions that they agreed to with the Bahamians. So that'll be, I just don't know the limits of that. All right, well, let's jump back on board. We've got to talk about, I feel like we should talk about some of the spaces because obviously, this was your first time on the Treasure. You guys are platinum cruisers. You've been on, of course, the Wish, right? So what did you guys think of, the different spaces on board? Particularly, obviously, you got the bar spaces. You mentioned being wowed by, the first impression, and obviously the Grand Hall is gorgeous. But curious about, of course, Haunted Mansion Bar, Haunted Mansion Parlor, Periscope Pub, Skipper Society. You guys are big parks people too. So to me, this is where the Treasure shines. But yeah, and of course, Scat Cat Lounge, Aristocat themed bar space. Yeah, what were your thoughts about these spaces?
I love them so much. I really think Treasure hit it out of the park with the theming of the bar spaces. I love that they've tied in Parks IP into the ship. I know it can be a polarizing thought. Like some people don't like the inclusion of the IP stuff. Personally, I love it. I really thought I'd be spending all of my time in Haunted Mansion because that is my favorite ride ever. But we spent most of our time at Skipper Society. I think it was just where it was on the ship. It was easy for Sterling to come and go and spend time with us if they wanted to. I think it was Skipper Society and Periscope were the ones we spent the most time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Skipper's is fantastic. The just the theming that's there, the music that's going on in the background, all of the Easter eggs, the signs. I mean, the cast was phenomenal. The fact that they've got live music there and on many evenings. Yeah, it was just a place to be. I ended up having to do a little bit of work there too. So I just grabbed one of those circular booths and had some friends coming and going during the day, but got to get a whole bunch of grant reviews done that I needed to do for a foundation that I'm on the board for. So it's just a super comfortable place. Haunted Mansion though, Imagineering just did such a stellar job. So impressive with especially the artwork that moves and all the rest of that stuff. I think I understand how they do it, but I don't want to ruin the illusion for anybody, so I won't go into that. But it's just so well done in there. I wish we would have spent a little bit more time in there, but we just didn't on this trip.
It's a little bit noisy in there. So like, I'm not trying to criticize because I love it. I think Imagineering did an awesome job, right? Like it is decked out to the nines, right? Like there's no space that is sort of overlooked as far as like theming and details and all of that. But like, it's not it's like the best for just like looking around and watching the walls and all of the different special effects, but it's not like the best place to have a conversation. And it definitely isn't the place where you could get some work done unless they have everything turned off.
Right.
Yeah. Did you try out Periscope Pub?
Yes.
What did you think of that? Because that was actually my preferred spot.
Yeah, we liked Periscope a lot.
Yeah, Periscope was absolutely phenomenal. The food there is great. They don't usually serve the food until later in the day, but it is really, really good. Actually, the last night on board, we were supposed to go. Well, we had our rotation hitting at Worlds of Marvel again, and Alicia wanted to go for the show. Sterling wanted to go for the show, and the rest of us were like, hard pass. And so we actually had dinner at Periscope, and yeah, it was fantastic. The only knock I would give on Periscope is that animation that they have on all the screens needs to be a lot longer because it's like a 90-second loop, and as you're sitting there for a while, it's like, okay, something else would be great.
No, they need to do sports on there.
Well, they usually do.
Really
That's
surprised. Nothing was on. Well, it may have just been when we were there, but there was nothing on the screens.
No, yeah. When I was there, they had sports on for most of the day, and then the animation was only on if there wasn't like sports available, or I think if somehow they're like out of range of being able to get the sports or something like that. So yeah, it's most of the time there was sports on, which I was nervous would be a bit jarring to the theming. It wasn't terrible. I mean, it's brighter in there when all the TVs are lit up with, suppose the deep blue and dark tones of the animation. You've got the white kind of light coming out. But no, it needs to fulfill the purpose of a sports pub, so it worked well. I agree with you. The food is great, and we've actually done that now a couple of times where we're like, I'm not feeling the dining rotation, and I've had that menu a bunch, so like I could really just go for some chicken wings and loaded tater tots tonight. Yeah.
Oh, they're
So
tachos, whatever you want to call them.
They're
so
potato
good.
barrels or whatever.
Potato barrels.
Yeah. Yeah, loaded potato barrels or something like that.
Yes.
Well, and just to put it out there, you guys know this, but for people listening, that food is not included food.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay a fee for any of the food that you order off the menu in Periscope Pub. is you're paying for a la carte. And so they give you little snacks, but like little like pretzels or something like that that's included. But the soft pretzel, the tachos, the wings, all that stuff is all extra charge.
Yeah, I'm going to be controversial for a second and say Disney needs to stop that. They just need to include that food. Like, it's crazy to me that, the price you're paying to be on a Disney cruise, you can't get chicken wings and potato barrels, So like, and the snacks they give you at the table, I mean, I know those are coming from Costco. Like, I have bought those snacks from Costco. So yeah, they're not, it's not breaking the bank around here. So yeah, I think they really ought to like, or give you a, give you a tab like Virgin does, like a bar tab that you can use daily for, some snacks if you want. Because it's that food is not expensive to the cruise line.
No. Yeah. Periscope is great. I'm going to go a little more on Periscope because I love the screens up at the top. So it makes you look like you're underwater. And the fish that go by, I don't know if anybody said this on your podcast before, but the fish is actually, they filmed the fish over at the seas at Epcot. And those are those silhouettes from those swimming by. I thought that was a really cool touch that they added.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you guys think about Scat Cat?
We weren't there very much.
We weren't there a bunch. Loved it though. I think the decor is great. It's not probably it's not the most obvious theme for folks. I think, Aristocats as a movie isn't kind of the more front of mind level of IP.
100% agree with you. I'm not a huge Aristocats fan, but I think that they did this space really nice, and they did a really nice sort of understated, right? Like there's definitely theming, but it's not over the top. And so it's good. It's a good balance, and it's probably one of my favorite places on board, even though I really don't like the Aristocats movie.
I had one of the jams. I was surprised how much I loved that. I don't think I've had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in like decades, and the nostalgia was great. I love, with that space and with Periscope, compared to the Wish, they've made some changes in the layout of those spaces. They've moved the bars in terms of where they are in the room. It for both of those, it really opens things up. It does such a better job of helping flow. The one thing I'll be interested to see, and I don't know that it'll make it in time for the Destiny, but I actually think while I love having that pass-through bar from Scat Cat, to the main lobby, to the atrium there's 2 pocket doors plus a pass-through of the bar. They're eating a lot of space that the bartenders really could be using for product and coolers. Bill, my friend, was talking to one of the bartenders there, and they said that it's actually a logistical struggle for them to have enough stuff on hand out at the bar because those pocket doors eat so much space. So I'd be interesting to I bet you that in one of the iterations, as this moves forward because I think we have at least 2 more of the Wish class coming, right? There's the OLC ship, there's the Destiny, and then is there another one more?
Yes, there's one more.
Okay.
That'll be a U.S. spaceship. Yeah.
I bet you one of those sliding doors gets deleted. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 5 years, when the Treasure hits its first major dry dock, that they don't make that same change because they need more cooler space for the bar.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure that from a operation standpoint, it just means more running back and forth, but that's a pain for them, right? If they have to constantly restock, or if they constantly run out of stuff and then they've got to radio somebody to, get stuff restocked, that definitely is a challenge.
Are you listening to our show because you want to make the most out of your next vacation? Great news. The fabulous team over at My Path Unwinding Travel can help guide you so you don't miss a thing. Their team of professional travel advisors are caring, knowledgeable, and experienced. It's why we use them to book our own travel. My Path Unwinding Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, which means they are recognized by Disney for their expertise and service. They have sailed on all the Disney ships, including in concierge, visited the theme parks, adventured with Disney, relaxed at Aulani, and so much more. Whether it's a Disney cruise, a theme park vacation, or Adventures by Disney, or if you are looking to expand beyond the mouse, My Path Unwinding Travel will elevate your next vacation planning experience. Even if you have already booked, reach out for a complimentary consultation to make your vacation even more magical. Ready to talk to the experts? Head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. Thanks, My Path Unwinding, for sponsoring today's show. Now back to the episode.
Well, let's talk about some of the onboard activities. Obviously, there are some things that are unique to the treasure. We've talked a lot about coriander and sage.
I was going to say, I know where Sam's headed. Tell us how much you loved coriander and sage.
Yeah, tell us what you thought of them
treasure.
and what you thought of the Indiana Jones. I mean, we've got some new game shows, and shows right on the treasure that we hadn't seen before. So some new entertainment offerings. We'll set aside the shows for now, but onboard experiences and if there's other things that are not new to the treasure, but just stuff you really enjoy, tell us what kinds of things you did on the treasure that maybe you do on other ships also.
I think it's really just coriander and sage. Can we just spend the rest of the time talking about those two? Because holy cow, what an ad.
The live entertainment, that streetmosphere, whatever you want to call it, needs to come to all the ships. That was amazing. I loved them so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
and
actually
it feels like there's like 12 of them, but there's only 2 of them, right? Like
There's
it feels because it feels like they're everywhere.
They are everywhere. Even in the Pirate Parley deck party, like they're playing, versions of themselves, pirate versions of themselves, and then hosting Match Your Matey later on in the evening after that. So it was, they just add so much to that onboard experience. And that's where I really start thinking that the premium you're paying to be on a Disney cruise, you start getting that value back. Like this is where, it's not just the characters that are around, because like that's definitely a thing. But to me, the coriander and sage and the more things that they can do like that, and they've got 3 or 4 different shows that they do in various places. Some of them are adults only. A lot of them are for everybody. That really ties the whole thing together. And I'm so glad to see Disney adding stuff like that.
Yeah. The Choose Wisely, I absolutely loved. I really hope something like that is on the Destiny, maybe Marvel themed or who knows.
I love your coining it though, streetmosphere, Alicea, though, because it really does, it makes you think of the kinds of things you see in the parks where you've got like the policeman in the parks and you've got the Five and Dime band singing, right? Like it really does. I mean, we do have some of the musical streetmosphere already on board the other ships, right? With like Victrophonics and things like that. But you really are bringing these characters on that add to that and become that more immersive streetmosphere that we see in the park. So it's and it works on the treasure even so much better because it is a like mostly parks themed, ship, right? So yeah, I love that. That's a great point. We got to talk about the stage shows because, of course, why else would you go on a Disney ship if not for them having the most amazing stage shows of all time? What did you? I know you guys are big theater buffs, like I am. What did you guys think of the shows on board? Seize the Adventure, of course, is on board. Beauty and the Beast, of course, is on board, and Tale of Moana.
We only did Tale of Moana.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we didn't do Seize the Adventure because we had Prima Notte. We didn't do Beauty and the Beast for the reason, how do I say
We're burned out on Beauty and the Beast.
We're burned out on Beauty and the Beast. Because Sterling, all last year, their thing for Big Star was Beauty and the Beast. So we saw Beauty and the Beast so many times.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I do love it now. I do love it on the ships, though.
Right.
This might be the best excuse ever for not seeing Beauty and the Beast is that your kid's been in it so many times that you're like, I just can't watch it one more time.
We needed a break.
Right. I've heard a 15-minute of that. I've heard a 15-minute version of that show every week for basically like 9 months straight. It was like we're good on Beauty and the Beast.
We'll see it again later. We just needed a little break.
You just need some time.
Yes.
Yeah, you
It
and
is
Beauty
a
and the Beast are on
fantastic
a
show.
break.
We have seen it on that's on the Dream, right?
The Dream, yeah.
It is It is a fantastic production, and I can only imagine what they're able to do even more on the newer ship with some of the newer tech. So excited to see it, but it didn't happen this time.
Moana, I saw both showings. I saw the afternoon and the evening, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The first showing, I was on the right side of the theater, kind of halfway up. The second one in the evening, we were pretty much front and center. I think we were second row center for it.
Yeah,
and
too close.
Yeah, a little too close. It was too close. Yeah.
And there was a couple things that we were just blocked because like some character would like come dead front of stage and like squat down. And then we're just like, well, we can't see what's going on there. So note to selves, sit a little off center if you are going to sit up close or sit further back where the raked seating really helps you out. I'm going to potentially get stoned here. I liked Moana. I thought the show needed some more time and some more work. And it's not the execution. The execution, most of the casting was absolutely fantastic. And in fact, like it's a challenge to find those specific roles in a world where you are having to cast for, multiple different stage show performances, plus all of the other things that those folks do across the ship. So like, I'll give a hall pass. There was some like, if we're casting this on land, I would have made some different decisions in terms of like age of some of the characters and stuff like that. But to me, it felt like the book just needs some more workshop time. I think there's some spaces. It just needs to be tightened up. It wasn't flowing as well as it could be. And in my brain, it's, you look at a Broadway show or even something that's touring. I mean, you're doing 8 shows a week. And for hundreds or thousands of iterations. And so you get to see the performances evolve. Like we've seen Hamilton like 4 or 5 times, and it's different every time what the actors bring to the roles. If you look at Moana, it's running like 3 shows, like matinee, and then 2 evening shows once a week. And we were on in mid-February. I know they were, in Toronto and building the show and training before. It just hasn't had that bake time to me. I think I'm interested to see where it gets in another year or two, or even I think y'all are going on here pretty soon as we record on.
And with cast number 2, we saw cast number 1 on the maiden voyage, which is who you saw because they only just got off at the kind of middle end of March, and so then Treasure Cast 2 came on board. So there's a new Coriander and Sage. There's an entirely new stage cast that doesn't mean all the other roles on board they rotate at different times. So just to be clear, it's just sort of the main stage and storytellers all rotate at the same time. Other cast members rotate more sporadically so that it's not everybody new. But they do this because we're talking about a stage cast that has to be rehearsing all together. And that's like, as you mentioned, they all go to Toronto before they get onto the ship. And that's where they do all their prep for all of those main stage shows, as well as their, some of the deck parties and the other, and the storytellers, meaning Coriander and Sage, doing their shows. So they're workshopping everything before they get on board. But it will be interesting to see if it's any different, because obviously we'll see different actors in it. So I'm sure it'll be different in the sense that everybody plays a role slightly differently, but I'm not sure that we'll see any big differences. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not, because Disney doesn't tend to make big changes to their shows on the ships, with one exception, which is anything that involves the genie, the jokes they try to keep fresh, but with regard to their stage shows, they don't do a lot of tweaking once they launch them on the ships. They don't do a huge amount of tweaking unless they do a real revision. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Hot take, Nathan. Hot take. I mean, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. I think Alicea will tell you you're wrong too. But like, it's it's a hot take. You're entitled to your own opinion, even if it's wrong, right, Alicea?
Yes, and very much a music snob there, Nathan. Oh my goodness. The puppetry for Moana and Tamatoa and Taka and Tafiti is just jaw-dropping. It is so stunning. I loved it so much.
Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's bad. I loved the show. Well, I know you know, but I don't want to get angry letters from thousands of people after this goes live. But no, I really love the show. I see the potential for some small tweaks, some small timing and rhythm improvements to just make it feel like it's flow. Like there's a couple spots where in the middle, it just felt like it was stuttering along a little bit, and it just needs some more bake time, some more repetition. I think it will get there 100%. And I'm excited for it to get there.
Yeah. And the only area where I will agree with you is the one new song that they added. I think that addition is a bit of a mistake. Let's put it that way. I don't think the song is good. I don't think it's the performers are wonderful. There's a special effect that happens during it that's pretty cool. I won't spoil that, but like I don't think the song is good. And so I feel like they need to just like either take that out or replace the song with a better song, right? Like it's an added song, it's not in the movie. And so it's not original. It's not a Lin-Manuel Miranda like show song, and so and no shade to whoever wrote it. It might work in a different context. I don't think that song works in the middle of the show, and it's right in the middle of the show, and that's where the area where I agree with you. I feel like there's a slump right there because of that scene in that song. All right. Well, moving on, we got to talk about food. You had mentioned this other hot take, Nathan, about skipping Marvel, the night 2 Marvel show, which in my opinion is like is like the better of the 2 Marvel shows. And I enjoy both Sam, Marvel shows.
This comes down to the conversation of form and function, right? So like for me, it's great to have a great show, but if it's supposed to be a great dinner show, then the dinner should be equally good, right? And like I got to agree here that like I don't know. I'm gonna be controversial and say the main dining on the Treasure, it's got some challenges to it. I'll just put like 1923 still great. Coco,
night 1 is great, not great.
Yeah,
night 2 of 1923. I think the lobster.
I think most of the night 2 menus are missing the mark in these restaurants.
You're wrong about Coco because Coco's the opposite.
Coco's appetizers, but like the entrees in Coco are not my favorite in the fleet, right? So like anyway. Nathan, Alicia, what did you think of the food on the Treasure?
I want to hear what Alicia thinks first. I'm going to start with Alicia here.
Okay, so 1923, I liked the first night. The second night was okay. Coco, I liked both nights just fine. Marvel, I do not like the first night. I like the second night. Short and sweet, nice and simple. There you go.
Yeah. Alicia, we are simpatico. I'm in agreement with you on all of the things. I don't hate like the first night of Marvel. I really like, there's a couple of dishes I enjoy. They're not my favorite like dishes on, the whole cruise or anything, but like, I think there's some decent stuff there, but the show, the second night is much better. And the menu is, and I think the menu is also better on the second night in Marvel. And same with Coco. The second night is better at Coco menu wise. The show is great. I think both nights, maybe the second one's a little bit better because it's the Dia de los Muertos. It's just a little bit more, fun. And, but okay, Nathan, we got to get your hot takes.
I'm probably more leaning towards what Brian shared. I think at least on this cruise, the food was good. I think I just listened to our podcast episode, our trip report this morning to just kind of refresh my brain. And I used the word fine. It was fine. It was not stellar. I think we've across the board have better quality and implementations of a lot of these dishes, but it wasn't bad. It just was, I've had better. 1923, I still really like those menus. I'm not really a lobster person, so the second night didn't really bother me too much. But then again, as I'm sitting here, there's nothing stands out of, oh yeah, that like this at 1923 is great. Like the steak's good, but if I'm going to have a steak on board, I'm going to go to Palo.
Oh, Sterling had the lobster though. And
Did he? Yeah.
they quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
I thought Coco was great. I was really surprised at how much I like the food. I don't typically eat a lot of Mexican food because I find myself not liking American Mexican food. And when I've had authentic stuff, when we're, on a port stop or whatever in Mexico, I really enjoy that food. And so I think I don't have a really great basis to make a call on what I had. I enjoyed it all. The beef empanadas were absolutely a highlight for me. I really enjoyed those. World of Marvel, I would have loved to have enjoyed the music and the experience on the second night show. I didn't really need to have the first night show again. And that interesting story. There was a little boy, probably, I don't know, 3.5, 4-ish, and had like cochlear implants and had a kind of a meltdown. This was several tables away from us, but evidently flung his hands up and grabbed one of the devices off the side of his head, and it flang across the room. And so that was actually like the thing that I was looking at, because it was more like everybody spent the next 45 minutes trying to find this like $14,000 piece of medical equipment and find where it landed. Thankfully, Doc, one of our friends who was with us at the table, found it. Everybody was looking on the floor, and it had hooked itself on the back of a chair, like right across from us. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
We became like that family. Anytime they saw us across the ship for the rest of the cruise, they're like, "Thank you so much. Holy cow." I was like, it was Doc, but I'm glad to be sitting at the same table.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, but that's a good point. Like it can be that first night of Marvel in particular is like overstimulating. Let's put it that way. All right. Like, so if you're somebody who has like some sensory sensitivities, it's like maybe, I think it's more so of an issue than in Coco, which is interesting because on the Wish, I think a lot of people would say the opposite because Arendelle is like very, very loud, but both Arendelle and Worlds of Marvel are very loud on the Wish. The first night, I think, of Worlds of Marvel is like, it's maybe like too much of a sensory overwhelming experience. And for those who maybe have some auditory sensitivities, like maybe that's the night to like take out the hearing aids or turn them down or, something like that. Or to just think about that because, and if you have, like a kid on the spectrum who has some auditory sensitivities, bringing those noise canceling headphones is probably I think it's a good idea to bring to any of the dinner shows because they can be loud. Deck parties, we have done that in the past. When we have taken Nathan to, not the sail away. He like doesn't really like the sail away anyway because it's just too usually loud and hot outside, right? So it's like double of a sensory issue. But for like pirate night, any kind of nighttime deck party, like bringing the noise canceling headphones, I think is a smart pro tip if you've got a kid or an adult in your party that has any of those kinds of sensitivities. Okay, well we got to talk adult dining, right? Like adult dining I think on all of the Disney ships is fantastic. You guys did Palo brunch and Palo dinner. I know your friends did Enchante, but I'd love to know what you guys thought. I know you've done the adult dining on some of the other ships, but what you thought of Palo and in particular on the Disney Treasure. Oh, and Prima Notte.
We loved Prima Notte. We had like all 6 of us there, and I don't think any of us had done it before.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Like the service, the food, the pours that we were getting, instantly making friends with the sommelier. We got a brand new port recommendation that is jumped to the top of our list moving forward and throughout the cruise. As it turned out, it was stunning as always. We had familiar faces in the dining room on the staff, and the food was just fantastic. Like hands down, like I hear everybody, on your podcast and elsewhere, everybody goes like, really, Palo is kind of like the best restaurant around the cruise industry when it comes to upscale dining. And the Wish and the Treasure just take that up a level. Like the way that they do the steaks there is just absolutely fantastic. The space is gorgeous and beautiful, and the only thing that would be better would be bringing back the old buffet, but that ship has sailed. So
literally and figuratively, that ship. We said it when they switched it post COVID. We said, I don't think this is ever coming back, because you can tell, like from a food cost perspective, they have, they've definitely saved money, and not that people don't. You can still order as much as you want, but it's not food sitting out that then has to be thrown away, right? So it is. I'm sure it's saved them a lot in that respect. And there's still a bit of a barrier. It's actually, I was watching a show the other day that was talking about, or maybe it was even a reel, I don't even know, on Instagram, but talking about McDonald's and ordering from those like screens now instead of ordering from a person. And they said that people order more from the screen than they do from a person at a register, because there's no embarrassment barrier about ordering too much or ordering more than like ordering extra food or whatever. I thought that was interesting, but it's the buffet thing sort of fits into that, right? Because at a buffet, if self-serve buffet, people tend to overload more than if somebody is, serving them, themselves.
And I think the other pro tip, and I know you shared it before, is it is completely okay to skip some of the breakfast options at Palo Brunch. Like, you don't need the pancakes or the waffle or whatever. Just like skip that. Leave yourself some room for all the amazing stuff that's coming after that. It is much better. I think Alicea and I we're both very happy with our ability to enjoy a lot of different food, but not walk out of Palo this time around feeling like, oh my gosh, what have I just done to myself?
So Nathan, Alicea, what have we missed? What have we not talked about that you want to be sure to share with the audience here?
We picked up some challenge coins. We enjoyed Hook's Barbary actually a couple times. And Alicea went along for moral support. She's typically not a bourbon drinker or scotch drinker. And then she noticed on the menu, they had a rum. And
ooh, they do, Alicea?
They do.
Mm-hmm.
It was an expensive rum.
Yes.
It was a very expensive rum. It was the Dictador Glenfarclas. And it's basically a rum distillery and a scotch distillery. They got together and made something amazing and delicious. And I have a coin for that one now.
We looked up the bottle is like 2,300 euros. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, so we will not be adding that to our collection. Sorry.
I mean, you have a shot of it essentially.
Yes,
when I say a shot, it's you're not shooting it like a shot. You're sipping
that was
it.
A sip. That was a sipping drink for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, but you get a shot either on ice or neat, and you just sip it. Yeah.
I was a sucker to the internet and social media and all the rest of that stuff, and needed to try the Pappy Van Winkle. I tried the 12. It was really good. I don't know that it's something I would definitely go back to all the time. I did have to go back though, because everybody always talks about the 23-year-old. I actually thought the 12 was better, at least for my palate. But so we've got three challenge coins here, and now we have a new thing that we need to go do on all the ships, because I think the first time we were on the Wish, I don't remember that they had challenge coins up and running. So
I asked the bartender on the Treasure, because I was like, I've never seen this before. He said, no, it's not new. We had it on the Wish. We just could never keep the coins in stock. And so
I don't think we knew about it though either, and I don't know when they launched it. Like, I don't think it launched.
No, I didn't know it was there. That's why I said to the bartender, like, I've never seen this before, because I didn't know they had it on the Wish. And he said, well, part of the reason you didn't is because we didn't have the boxes out, because we didn't have the coins to give out. So yeah, it's
probably the one thing that will get us back on the Wish.
Yeah,
is now we need to go get a coin.
The completionists in us. Yeah,
that is so funny. I could see. I mean, we don't have any plans to go on the Wish anytime soon either, and so I could see that would be like a motivating factor to go on the Wish. But it could also just be like, if the wish changes itineraries at some point,
right.
Then
true.
that might be the reason.
And for those at home, Nathan has his in front of him, I think, and I'll hold mine up. But the coins look like that, and then on the back they have the name of the bourbon that you bought, and the 12-year is the lowest entry-level price to get the coin, and it is not cheap. And then they only go way up from there. So it is a luxury, but it created a fun game for myself and the two guys I was sailing with, because each of us had a coin. And so then we played the challenge coin game, which I don't know if this is right, but the way that we did it is you put the coins down on the table, and if someone's missing theirs, they buy the round. If you initiated the challenge and everyone had their coin, then you buy the round. So that's what we did. And actually, I wanted to take a minute, because this is a really fun thing that we got. A friend of the show, Jerry White, who we've met on several sailings now. He makes challenge coins, and so he made a coin for us that has a design that we did for the Treasure Maiden, and on the back it has our logo. So this is the coin I will now be carrying with me. It's one of a kind. So there you go.
You definitely did play the challenge coin game correctly. A lot of the folks that I work with are former military or other folks in government service. And that's how it goes.
Yeah.
It created endless fun as we would run into each other randomly on the ship. And I always played too. Like, they would pull it out and be like, see, you don't have yours. I'm like, I'm coming back from the spa, and we're nowhere near a bar.
Right.
So, yay, you won. I'm going to my room now.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing about challenge coins, which this is, as you mentioned, Nathan, it started really with law enforcement and military. And what they tend to do is trade, like, you would have one from your police department or your branch or your regiment or whatever, and you would trade with other folks so that you would have different ones. And so you wouldn't have just one that was your department or regiment. You'd have a whole bunch of them, but you would, sort of swap so that you collect a bunch of different ones. So that's sort of been that was sort of the tradition of challenge coins. But of course, now everyone is making challenge coins for all kinds of things. Even Disney security folks.
Yes.
Disney security folks, they have their own,
we have challenge coins from the Halcyon, several different versions of them for cast and security that they handed out, and challenge coins from Club 33 has challenge coins. Like, yeah, there's challenge coins all over the Disney universe. I had planned, actually, we had a fun Club 33 challenge coin that I ended up with two of, and I was like, well, I'll just carry this around in my pocket as my challenge coin. But now that we've got our own, I think I got to carry that one. It's got to be the one that's in my pocket. So yeah.
Well, and you mentioned off the recording or pre-recording that you guys planned a pub crawl. I'd love to hear how that was organized and how that went.
So I based this off of something called the People's Pub Crawl that I've seen online, and they've done a lot of things on Disney cruise ships. And I contacted them and let them know that I wanted to do something similar, and got some inspiration from them. And we called ours the Sips on the Ships. And I just let our Facebook group know that we were going to do it, when we were going to do it, and all that. It was the second sea day, and it was an entire day thing, starting at like 10 in the morning and done at 11 at night, which is very hard for these two introverts right here. But we did it. We had about 70 people sign up. I made a little passport book, had all of the venues listed in there. There's room for people to write the drink that they got, the time that they were there, and have the bartender sign or do something like that. Nice little 32-page booklets that everybody had. And everybody also had a bright orange wristband so we could see each other around the ship. And I had a schedule made. Yeah.
It was a great way to meet other people. It absolutely forced us out of our comfort zone. Thankfully, our best friends were also involved in helping to encourage folks to move around and talk. Alicea did a great job in that it was kind of a block schedule of, like, in the morning it was hitting Hey Hey Cafe and Jade Cricket, and so it wasn't like 70 or 80 people all showing up at the same place at the same time. It was kind of a free for all in that that regard. But it was a great way to go experience all these places. We did have the beverage staff reach out. I think
I went to them ahead of time. I let them know we were doing this.
Well, and then they came back and said, hey, like, I think the Rose wasn't going to be open when we thought it was going to be, but they added bartender staff to the Periscope pub earlier than they were intending. So it went really well. It, like, nobody caused an issue. We had rules in the back of the passport, and every other line was basically like, be nice to your bartender. Like,
take care of your bartender.
Take care of your
bartender, and don't cause a problem. And I think everybody really nailed that. And so it was
awesome.
Fun to,
Good job, Alicea. And really good pro tip of, you need to talk to the staff on board, because when you plan this, you're planning this obviously in advance on the Facebook group, and you're not doing it with coordination of Disney. And if you just go and do it and you don't tell them, you might really slam a bar, because they might only have like one person scheduled to be there at the time that you've sort of said, 70 people are going to come. And even if it's a 2-hour block, still, they might not be expecting 70 people to come in that 2-hour block, right? So really, really smart to let them know, and then they can adjust. There was one that was done, I think, on the maiden voyage, but they actually ended up breaking it up into multiple different days. So different people doing on different days, in order to avoid that, because it was even over 70 people subscribed to it. And so things like that.
But they had so much fun, they did it twice. So
they did, well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of them
went back out.
A lot of people went back out for, but I think they sort of also made like 2 different pathways, right? So like one group started at one bar, and another group started a different bar, and so that they wouldn't all be in the same spaces at the same time. So if you're doing something like this out there, I think that's great. Just make sure you communicate with the onboard staff so that everybody has a wonderful time. And as Nathan and Alicea said, take care of your bartenders. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, you guys, this sounds.
And I was going to say, and take care of yourself, because nobody, they're hydrate yourself. And then, it doesn't happen as much on Disney, but it does happen occasionally. There's some people who overindulge, and that's not what this was about. This was about, exploring some spaces, getting to know new people. Yes, we're doing it with an adult beverage in your hand, but it's not about, throwing back, dozens and dozens of drinks. We're really out to just have fun and enjoy the day. And we're super thankful for everybody who joined in. And it was a ton of fun.
And you can have a non-alcoholic beverage, by the way, at all of those locations. All of those locations have non-alcoholic beverages. Of course, the cafes are great spots for coffees, right? So plenty of stuff to have on board that does not include alcohol. So just a pro tip out there. Well, you guys, this sounds like an amazing trip. Really interesting reviews of everything. Some interesting and not so interesting hot takes by Nathan. But I've got to ask you, we're not going to do a full rapid fire because we've done a rapid fire with you guys fairly recently. But what I would really love to know is, do you have a new favorite ship now?
I do.
Yeah. So that means the treasure is now the favorite, Alicea. Wow.
Wonder was our favorite.
Big.
And this one beat it out. It was hard though. I love the intimacy of the smaller ships and the Wonder, but the spaces here and just the entertainment, everything, just the whole package of it, it eked it out. Treasure is my favorite, and I cannot wait to get back on here again. When are we going, Nathan?
When are we going, Nathan?
Not soon enough. I think Alicea and I have penciled in a back-to-back on the Treasure probably for the summer of 26, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe
27.
2 weeks?
It's too
Whatever.
far. Yeah.
But 2 weeks on the Treasure.
Yes, that's what I want. It was not long enough. A week was not long enough.
Yeah.
For me, I am still struggling over the Treasure versus the Wonder. The Wonder, we have literally spent, I think, 9 or 10 weeks of our lives on the Wonder. It is our home. We love that ship. And it has a special place in our hearts and always will. The Treasure, she's new, she's beautiful. Like, that's like that meme of like the guy looking over his shoulder at I don't know, the Treasure's pretty nice. I don't know. I'm still going to go with the Wonder. I will knock the Wish class ships because of the adult spaces and the lack of a pool, because the little waiting pool thing in the back, that and the location of it and how you can get there or can't get there inside. I just don't like the Cove area on the Treasure, or all the Wish class, the Wish Treasure. I don't think they're going to fix that. Yeah, I'm still going to go with the Wonder, but every time I hear Alicea or anybody else talk about how amazing everything around the Treasure, I'm like, do I really still think it's the Wonder? I don't know. I could be easily swayed.
Do you think that the premium they're charging for the Treasure is justified?
I mean, with sage and coriander, maybe. Yeah. If you take advantage of it, I mean, it seems like the premium is a lot lower than it was that we saw with the Wish, and so prices are always going to go up. I don't want to get into all that, but yeah, I didn't feel as bad about the price on the Treasure as I really did about the Wish. Yeah, we'll just say that. I mean, there's a reason that we have another 4. Plus, like, once the itineraries are out, we'll probably have another 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, cruises on Disney planned. We've cheated on the Mouse once. We sailed Royal. We are cheating on the Mouse again. What was that? Spoilers. Yeah. Sorry. That's the what's next question. I apologize, Brian. But we're trying Celebrity this summer. We're doing Alaska cruise because I can't swallow the 100% price premium on Disney for Alaska. So we'll see how that goes, but we're always going to be cruising Disney.
Well, you did preview my question, which is what's next. You might have also answered it there, but yeah, what is next? Where are you headed next?
So cruise-wise, our next one is this July on the Celebrity Edge.
No Captain Kate anymore. No Captain
Kate anymore. Yeah. I did look at the Four Seasons cruise website and
yeah, we're not doing that. Sorry. Nope, it's not happening. I saw those costs. Nope.
Hey, concierge. I mean, I would wager like it's the same cost as a concierge room. Well, some of the concierge rooms on Disney, and it's a much, much better experience. I don't know. Well, it's probably not anytime soon. But
No. So
I saw some for 20.
Still.
What's next on Disney Cruise?
Next on Disney, we are doing the Magic in November, just Nathan and I, from San Juan to Galveston. We have not been on the Magic since 2009.
Yeah. So we've heard it's changed.
She's changed a bit, just a little bit. Yeah.
Apparently, they have a new cascading water effect in the atrium. So, for all of you out there, that is a joke. They had a pipe burst on the Magic. Mm-hmm. We're recording in April, so it was last week. Early April. And there's some water in the atrium, apparently not the first time. So
yes.
Well, I mean, the Treasure had a water effect.
Exactly.
They had it. Exactly.
Yeah. It's a feature now.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we have the Magic in November. We also have it in February, and Sterling will be on that one. And then we have the Destiny next summer, and our daughter will be joining us on that one. That will be her 21st birthday cruise.
Oh, yay. So fun. That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, you guys, first, I got to say, happy anniversary. You mentioned this was a big milestone anniversary for you guys as a couple. As we wrap up here, of course, we got to say thank you to you all for coming. But why don't you let folks know if they are interested in listening to your podcast, Adventures and Mousecapades, where they can find you on all the socials, where they can find you on all the podcast channels.
So we're at Our Mousecapades on all the socials. OurMousecapades.com will link you to wherever you need to go. We're available wherever finer podcasts are found. So your Apple Podcast, Spotify, Overcast, like all the things, we're everywhere. We do post to YouTube. It's amazing how many people listen to just audio podcasts, even though it's on YouTube. So we don't typically do video on YouTube. Occasionally we'll get some shorts and things like that Alicea puts together. But just ourmousecapades.com, and you can find us. And we talk about, like Sam said at the start, like parks and trips and cruises. And we've talked to lots of cast members from the parks, from the cruises, from everywhere across Disney. Lots of insights and all sorts of fun. So come on and join us.
Oh, I was waiting for you to finish there, Sam. All right.
I was waiting for you.
You were like, you've been just going. So
I was waiting for you. You always do the wrap up.
Well, Nathan and Alicea, we, as always, appreciate you taking time out of your busy weekend. We know we're all really busy these days. Nathan and I work at the same place, so that place is not slowing down. And with kids, it's even more fun. So thank you for taking time out of your weekend to spend some time with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure, yes.
Well, thanks to everyone out there for listening this week. We really, really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep getting great content from us every week. In fact, twice a week we publish shows. So be sure to hit the subscribe button to get all of those great episodes. And if you want to watch us live, we have a live show now every week, Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern over on youtube.com/DCLDuo. So be sure to head over and check that out. If you want to help support the show, be sure to hit those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave us a written review, a 5-star written review, we will read it at the top of one of our main episodes. So please head over there and hit those 5 stars. Of course, you can also help support the show by supporting our fabulous show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. If you want to book your next Disney vacation, head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCLDuo or email them at DCLDuo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. If you've got questions or you'd like to connect with us, the best way to do that is to head over to DCLDuo.com. It's got links to all of our things, full catalog of the podcast episodes, including a searchable catalog for the podcast, links off to our vlog, a link to our Etsy store where we sell some fun fan-inspired magnets, link to our Patreon if you'd like to help directly support the show each and every month. Just head over to the website or patreon.com/DCLDuo. Also has a way for you to sign up for our Substack newsletter that we're hoping to start really pumping out monthly here at least, and a few blog articles that we've written. So DCLDuo.com is the best way to connect with us. You can also, of course, email us at info@DCLDuo.com or reach out to us on our voicemail line at 402-413-5590. That's 402-413-5590. The DCL Duo podcast is not affiliated with Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Company, or the Disney family of theme parks. The views expressed on the show are solely those of the individuals on the podcast and in no way reflect the views of the Disney Company or Disney Cruise Line. If you have questions about a Disney cruise or a Disney vacation, please contact the great folks over at My Path Unwinding Travel or Disney directly or your own travel agent. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time for another fabulous adventure with the DCL Duo. Good night.